Hi, performers and achievers. Welcome to Performers and Achievers Daily with me, Raj Gavurla. And today's episode is about a simple formula for how to diligently improve, succeed, win, develop, grow, achieve, accomplish anything. And here it is. Simplify it. As you all know, I like to simplify things. And that is, what is the strategy? And then implementing the strategy. And then as you implement the strategy, you see how well it worked. What kind of results you got. And from there, you go back into your strategy or your implementing of the strategy with that feedback, and you make slight adjustments. That's called successive approximations, right? Successive approximations. So what are some examples? Well, let's start with your home life, since that's the most important. You're living at home, probably living with somebody. So the relationship there with those people you're living with are important. You want to take care of diligently improving them. And what happens is sometimes we get into a rut, especially when we've known people for a while. We just get into this autopilot. And you should be out of autopilot. And here's the fun part of that, or the enjoyable part, is that life is not autopilot. If it was, it would be just so boring. There, every day, there's something occurring. So it's good to be able to listen and talk with each other, have conversations with each other, good conversation, etc. And of course, each person has their healthy boundaries. And it's a lot of those things that aren't the paid things that are actually the most satisfying, the most rewarding, most fulfilling. Right? So instead of sitting at the kitchen table to eat, nothing wrong with that. However, sometimes sit outside to eat. You have a fire pit, you have a table there. So that's an example. Another example is school. So let's say you got kids in school, or maybe you're in school. Well, then what's the study strategy? And implement the study strategy. And then for that specific subject or class or course, what's the specific strategy, and implement that strategy. Look at the results, the accomplishments, the achievement, and then that gives you feedback to make adjustments to the strategy and to the skills. It's not just that someone's that much smarter. They may be smarter in a specific area because, well, they've learned that area. They've been studying. They, maybe worked in that area. That's the reason most time. And you haven't. So naturally they would be. Makes sense, huh? However, that's the approach to take. So it's possible to be able to do something. And that's the approach to take. You might need to do a little research, might need to ask some people. And that also is important because the ability to coach, train, and teach, not everyone is at the same capabilities with a person. That's just reality. Okay, that's reality. And then also just where you go and look for your references and where you do your research and gather your information so that you can have a strategy and implement it and look at what the results are, achievement, accomplishment, the experience, the beneficial experiences, and then use that as successive approximation to make adjustments to your strategy and to implement that strategy. And then, of course, this is similar in business. I'm probably not going to do business with anybody that I haven't talked to online or in person, because that's one of my strategies that I've implemented. Now, if it's a small thing, like someone made a new something that's beneficial, but sure, I'll go on the website and buy it or purchase it. There's no strategy involved there besides the strategy that, hey, this product or service, product usually, would be beneficial, right? So that's what that would be about. I mean, here I use Buzzsprout for my podcast. Did I really talk to anyone in Buzzsprout? No. I just did my research, looked at how their interface worked. I liked it. It was easy to use. It made sense. And of course, the dollar amounts weren't large compared to the ones that I would do when I'm like making a deal. However, it's still a deal. And so I made a deal with them, and here I am. And as I implemented the strategy, and then I learned about podcasting and implemented that and see what kind of results I'm getting, achievements, accomplishments, the experience, beneficial experience. Right, this benefits me. Just putting together these podcasts is beneficial for my coaching. It's beneficial for my professional speaking. It's beneficial for lots of things, mental performance coaching. It's just beneficial for my communication skills, excellent communication skills. We sort of take it for granted. Probably the majority of the people right now, if you were to ask them to talk on a subject or do a podcast on something, they would be scared, frightened, nervous. They wouldn't be able to do it. They wouldn't have the communication skills, right? So my communication skills are diligently improving every day. Verbal, written, eye contact, body language, tone of voice, word choice. What am I conveying? What is my point of view? What's the objective? What does the audience feel? What do they understand? Can they relate? Because as some of you know, I'm also a professional actor and I'm an author. So these are all things that you just don't arrive someplace and there you are. You're not able to diligently improve, experience more beneficial results, achieve, succeed, have accomplishments. No, there's more. I wasn't always these things. And then, of course, in sports, it's similar. In sports, I think whatever sport you play, Soccer, basketball, tennis, football, baseball. I can name any sport. It's a similar concept. So it's just almost like a similar in life. It's similar in this sense concept. So, what's the strategy when you're playing the sport? You implementing the strategy? When you implement it, what are the results? What tangible benefit? What are the beneficial, tangible results you're experiencing? What are the successes? What are the achievements? What are the accomplishments? What are the successes? And you take that and you make adjustments to it to adjust the strategy and or the implementation of the strategy. Maybe it's that could be a wide variety of things. So many things. And most importantly, and I'll end with the last one, because this is the most important. And this is what I pray for you all every day about. And that is that you are taking care of diligently improving your health. And I'm here to tell you that without health, everything I just said becomes that much more difficult. That much more difficult. And so it's good to have the people who obviously have expertise in that or are professionals in that. However, it's also good for you to learn about it and do your research, especially these days with medications having side effects and knowing which ones in the past maybe you've taken that you're allergic to or have a side effect to, and be sure to catch them if they try to prescribe that to you and just say, no, I had a side effect of that. I'm not taking that. Doesn't mean you're going to be a medical doctor. It just means that you're informed and do your research and educated about your health and your communication skills to the doctor. And whatever doctor you're with, if there's more than one, then you should coordinate you and the other two talking to each other so that you can receive the right treatment. The right treatment. And that's what I pray for you all every day. Every day. I pray that for myself. So that you're diligently taking care of your health, improving, and diligently taking care of all aspects of living life. And not just you, but here it is, especially in health as well. And this makes a difference that whomever you're around, we're diligently taking care of each other's health and health improving and diligently improving all aspects of living life. And that is reality. It really is. Sure, we may think that we're gung-ho or a hero or some kind of tough person or the strongest person or don't want to bother anybody or cause any friction or don't want someone that loves you to see you this way. Well, get all that nonsense out of your mind. Health is the most important. So the reality is that when that occurs, sometimes the less often it'd be better, but sometimes it's going to take other people, right, who aren't like knowledgeable about your health. However, They are part of your environment. Environment's very important. They're part of the culture you're in. Culture is very important. So that's essential. And in reality, in business, it's about relationships, or it should be. These days, I'm not so sure. Sometimes I think, at least the way that I do business is, so I'm not about a transaction. That's not how I do business. And so basically what we're doing is, sure, there may be someone who's providing the professional services or programs, and then someone who is on the receiving end or who buys them or invests in them. However, it's not a transaction. We take care of each other, diligently improving each other. And that's what a relationship is, so that we experience tangible, beneficial results, achievement, success, accomplishment. We're diligently improving. And that's what really life is about. That's what sports is about. School is about. Living at home is about. Your job, business, etc., your profession. It's all about that. Playing sports, it's all about that. It's about those relationships. And that's what creates that environment and that culture. Right? So if you have people reporting to you, right, then it's not a transaction. And for them, even though they're subordinate, they should be able to have these kind of conversations or talks or discussion or engage with each other to some extent, so that we're taking care of each other, improving, diligently improving, not only in the work, but in all aspects of living life. So that's what I have for you today. I really believe that and feel, and actually in some ways know that that's the mature way to do business. And that's the way that we do business here at Liven. And so that's what I'm about. That's what my customers are about, my prospects are about. And I really do hope that and wish that my podcast in some way is helping you to take care of diligently improving each other and whomever else is involved in your world, in your life, in your work, in your job, business, sports, hobbies, and anything else, your health, and anything else you do. If you like my podcast, like it and fill out the brief form. For those interested in my private, personal, professional, confidential programs and services, or services and programs, fill out the brief form on my website, rajgavurla.com, and we will contact you as soon as we can. Enjoy your day.